99% of organizations are going to answer that question by figuring out how to do what they already do better than they do it now.
Your ability to do it better than the competition will not come down to whether you have the best siloed expertise. Most academics will tell you that in majority of fields, except for the brand new ones, that we have basically dug deep enough, and that most new breakthroughs don't come from going deeper within academic silos or within silos within an organization. Most breakthroughs are going to come between the gaps, like through the cracks.
Sony owned the brand in the mind of the market for small portable music. Would you agree with that? Okay. 2, they owned the technology that was small sound, small everything, right? They owned the distribution and retail relationships to do it and do it fast. And the other thing they owned was the music. Like, they own the music as well. So, anyway, I've lost sleep over this question. Just, oh my gosh, content. So there has been a number of business case studies in big business schools written about why Sony didn't invent the iPod, and all of them hypothesized that they didn't want to lose control of their existing business model. Peter Guber, the former chairman of Sony Pictures at a conference in Canada, by the way, answered publicly the question to why Sony didn't invent the iPod. He said it wasn't because we didn't want to, and it's not because we wouldn't have liked a piece of digital music. He said it's because we had organized ourselves in such a way that nobody talked to each other anymore. Music was over there, distribution retail was there, marketing was here, video was over there. In other words, they didn't do what IT did at Apple, which was, instead of creating this kind of idea of functional silos or, like a leadership group that sits over the top, they saw their role as being the lateral silo within the organization. My point is simply this: money gets made in the cracks. Money gets made in the cracks. But instead of bringing the out-of-town kind of people that aren't even involved in the relationship to solve our problem, let's just ask the women who already work at Best Buy how to sell more product to women. They started a thing called wolf packs, which is a metaphor of a whole other level, but wolf packs, because that's really going to inspire people to get involved. Anyway, it was a phenomenon, really successful, and they came up with 2 recommendations. Think about how brilliant these recommendations are. They said that the majority of women coming into the stores are actually family women, not professional women, and they often come in with their children in strollers, but the aisles are so small, it's hard to get through without knocking stuff over. We think you need wider aisles. And I see some women going, yes, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's because women came up with it. 2, they made the recommendation that Best Buy use functional labeling. Now, if there was ever a lesson for people in your role for the rest of their company, this is it. They said, don't tell us it's got 7,000 RPMs. We aren't going to drive the washing machine out of here, right? Tell me how many shirts goes in it and how long it's going to take. Period. Wider aisles, functional labeling. $2 billion of increased sales on the back of their women's program with those 2 core recommendations. Genius. Who do they ask? People doing the work. This is why I think this is the metaphor for collaboration. It's going to the people that you touch every day, whether it be those who support you or those that you are paid to support, and going to them going, how could we do this better? I think you all need to know what you all already know. Could you imagine how powerful this group would be if you each knew what you all know? IBM started this thing in 2006 with a thing called the Values Jam. And do you remember when Lou Gerstner had kind of done the turnaround of IBM and got him out of the server business, got him into the services business, and then Sam Palmisano took over, but this company was kind of like at a new inflection point. And he wanted to get clear on the real values of IBM, but he didn't want to do it from the top. But he's got 300,000 staff. Could you imagine how many town hall meetings you'd have to run? So he sets up for 48 hours, tell us everything you think about what it's like to work for IBM. He invited workers' spouses, so their husbands and wives. he invited their children to contribute, and he invited clients and partners to contribute as well. And for 48 hours in a managed space, actually I think the first one might have been 72 hours. So for 72 hours in this managed space, people got up and shared their views of the world. The story goes that they had to tape him down, like with gaff tape to a chair, in the first 24 to 36 hours. Because guess what everyone did for 24 to 36 hours? Complain, complain, complain. IBM sucks. Clients reading the staff going, IBM sucks. Freaking out. Like, new CEO takes over one of the most visible companies on earth. Gerstner's called a hero for the turnaround. He's meant to follow in his footsteps and build this. Apparently they taped him, like held him back from hitting the stop button. Guess what happened after the 36-hour mark, though? But you know what I really love about this business? We get to grow, we get to learn, we get to... He got 67,000 positive contributions that helped define the value set of IBM, the business moving forward, from clients, spouses, staff. Now, that would be a multi-million-dollar consulting project that he did in 72 hours by eventing this idea of collaboration. What do you think it meant for the staff to have been given a chance to have a voice? It didn't just work with young people, it worked with everybody. This idea that you've got to get people involved is as true as anything I've heard. This inclusion concept that you hear again and again around young people at work. You could event inclusion. You could build this kind of practice around inclusion. There is no question your industry is going to shift and change and move. There's no question the market, the economy is going to go up and down and do all these different things. You do not have to be a product of market conditions, but you have to choose not to be.